and Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Welcome to today's show. It is Tuesday. It is December 9th. Today's program is titled The State of the Program. All right. I'm going to go over Coach Kalen DeBoer in year 2, Ryan Grubb as the offensive coordinator, Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator, the staff overview, right? We got to do a quick change. We're going to go over the roster overview and the final assessment of this team. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday, telling you it's an action-packed show. We're going to do a deep dive into this team, just kind of from an overall assessment standpoint and kind of a state of the program, because I think, I was thinking about this, and you know what? You want to see how organized I am? I mean, it's not like completely organized, but my mind like never stops. And so the other night I just like wrote out a sheet of paper, and I had Monday through Tuesday, or Monday through, the weekend, kind of listed out here about things that I wanted to address. And the state of the program was clearly one of them, because I think when you look to Alabama football, you're 10-3 going into the playoffs, and you're kind of wondering in your mind a lot of these questions, right? You're like, where's Ryan Grubb as the OC? I know that's like a really hot topic. You're talking about Kane Womack, the staff overview with some movement and the roster in general. So we'll hit on all those points, and I appreciate y'all being here. And as we usually do, let's start out with our AM shout-outs, okay? So Young C, what's up, man? Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Amanda Jane is saying it is 39 degrees down in L.A. That is crazy. You know what? Let's see. It's 43 right now in Tuscaloosa. All right, we got Max Tooney. What's up, Max? Good to see you. Thank you so much for all the feedback, especially on Wake Up Bama. That's been so well received, and I really like putting it out at that time. So I really appreciate you guys checking in on Wake Up Bama. North Alabama Storm Chase, thank you very much for being here. Capstone Farms, what's up, man? Good to see you. We got Kendrick Flood up in the house. Thank you so much. We got Jarvis, who has an updated line for us. He says the line has moved to Oklahoma now, 1.5 with the over-under 40.5. Wow. So that the line is now, it's still kind of a pick 'em, but it looked like we've lost a little bit of points. So they're expecting a low scoring game. I think so. Right. Kind of like, I think if you have to pick a game, like right on the spot, you're like thinking like a 21-17 or something like that for this game, right? Andy, what's up, man? He's got 60 in the forecast from Denver. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Tide will rise. Thank you for coming to us from Mississippi. Bama boy, what's up, man? Good to see you. Chris from New Jersey, good morning. Bruce Williams, Broderick, and thank you so much for the feedback. Yeah, I had a couple, shorter form video. Yesterday, I had a lot of videos that, all the videos right now are kind of, banging because of the time we're at. But that one where I was talking about Grubb, and Ty Simpson making some adjustments on the fly, I thought that was hilarious. I watched it a few times myself. Someone brought up inside the comment box, they were like, you know what, though, Kyle, Alabama runs a two-play system. It's like they send in 2 plays, and then Ty kind of makes the adjustment. So, yeah, I go through all the feedback, and I appreciate it. Rocky, what's up? Thank you very much for joining us this morning as well. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys being here, and let's talk the first note on Coach Kalen DeBoer as the head football coach. So how this is going to work, because I'm going to do, literally, this is going to be action-packed. Like, I'm going to go through every single position. I'm going to go through every single player throughout this next hour, okay? And we start with the head football coach, Kalen DeBoer. And what I'm going to do is let me work through my points, and then at the end of this, I'm going to ask you for an approval rating, and we'll put that in there together, and we'll do everything on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10 means 10 is like the top. You got complete confidence. It's like the highest we can go. 7 is like good. 6 is, mid. And anything below 4 is just not cutting it. Okay, so that's how to work. Talking about Coach Kalen DeBoer as the head football coach of the University of Alabama in his approval rating after Alabama is 10-3 through the regular season and after the loss in the SEC championship game. Now, the first thing I want to hit on is, do we have a clear identity for Alabama football yet under Coach Kalen DeBoer? What would you say, yes or no? Do we have a clear identity of Alabama football? And I think, like, when I think about that, I was like, okay, do they have a really strong defense? Do they have an offense that is overly dominant? Like, what is the identity for Alabama football? Do we have a clear identity under Coach Kalen DeBoer? To be honest, I don't know if we can answer that yet. So I'm going to probably pass on that, but I don't think we have an identity on Alabama football. So that's, my first assessment. Is he adapting his system to Alabama? Yeah, he is. It's a completely different system from the last regime, right? I think he's trying to turn this program into his complete organizational, and I do see a lot of positives in that regard, but I don't think we're fully there. Think about this. He's still not even playing a quarterback that he specifically recruited, right? And I think when you think Coach Kalen DeBoer, let's face it, you think offense, right? And you think of like Michael Penix and what he did at Washington, and you're hoping that can kind of come over here. It hasn't yet. And he's not playing the quarterback that he has recruited yet. You look to the quarterbacks of the future, you got some good ones there, but he's still playing a quarterback. And for the last 2 years, which I find really interesting, is he is still playing a quarterback that Coach Saban brought here, not him specifically. You see what I'm saying? So I think we're getting there, but, you know, A and B, I don't think have been completely transformed yet. The right long-term coaching staff. We're going to dive into this. How do you feel about this? I think Womack, my goodness, and we'll highlight him in just a second. He's done a damn good job improving, turning into the coach that we need for this present day of college football on the defensive side. But the long-term staff, I don't know if we're there yet either. And I think the biggest thing is, and the burning question right now is about Ryan Grubb. Everything is about Ryan Grubb. There seems to always be a scapegoat, but we could talk about it, and he's next. Because when you go over the stats and you look at the statistics, you see that the running game is not trending the right way. And I think the further we trend away from running the ball, the further you get away from winning a national championship game. I know it's crazy to think that, but I have data that backs that up, okay? Now, the last time that they reached the national championship, they were running the ball. That was in 2021. The last time they were really running the ball was back in 2020, okay? Yeah, they had Najee Harris, but still, they were running the ball. Since that point in time, 22, 23, 24, 25, they've went away from running the ball, and they've gotten further and further away from the national championship. 100%. Look it up. I have the stats. I'll show them to you in this next slide. The development in the recruiting under Coach Kalen DeBoer, I think that particular area, I like it, okay? The recruiting has been stellar. Some of the younger guys that are getting opportunities, they're very talented. You kind of look at the sophomores and the freshmen that are standing here. I mean, Xavier Brown, right? That's a Coach Kalen DeBoer guy. You look to Dejon Lee. That's a Kalen DeBoer guy, right? So you start to look at some of these freshmen, the sophomores. How are they faring? They're faring really well. And they're recruiting at an elite level with Courtney Morgan here. So D is kind of where I feel the most comfortable right now. Would you agree with that? Letter E, the pressure, the expectations, and the scrutiny. How is he dealing with that? I think he's definitely feeling it. I mean, this is a place coming after Coach Saban where you're going to deal with extreme pressure. Playing in the SEC, even if you coach at like Arkansas, Kentucky, wherever it is, you're going to feel pressure. It's a different pressure here at Alabama. It's always turned up, okay? And the expectations, let's face it, it's a national championship game. And I think right now, fans are being patient. They're like, let's get into the playoffs. I think fans are happy that they reached the SEC title game. They're not happy with the outcome, but because they're in the playoffs, his approval rating is still, kind of there. The scrutiny, it's there. It's always going to be there, okay? And you're going to face different elements. You're going to face different rumors. You're going to face a bunch of stuff. And if you can continue to block out all the noise, you're good. But that stuff never stops. Never stops, okay? And I would say, what is the foundation right now? It's clearly the recruiting. It looks good. It feels good. So with all that said, and it seems like we're kind of missing some components, where does Coach Kalen DeBoer's approval rating lie right now at this point in time? On Tuesday, December 9th, on a scale of 1 to 10. Go ahead and sound off inside the comment box. And I think if you look to all those areas and you look to games won, games lost, how he's faring in those games, right? He has a pretty good record at home. He's beat Kirby Smart. He took Alabama to the SEC championship game. He got into the playoffs. And I think if you're only assessing it on step forward or step backwards. I think you took a step forward from last year. So would it be fair that we give him a 7.5? Because it looks like we're, 8 to 7 inside the comment box. There are some 6s for sure. But are we good with 7.5? You know what? I'll go ahead and poll it real quick. And we'll say Kalen DeBoer's approval rating. All right. We'll do 9 to 10. We'll do 7 to 8. We'll do 5 to 6. And we'll add low. Go ahead and vote inside the poll. I think I'm going to go with the 7. And I think because, you got into the playoffs. And we'll reassess after, the season is completed. But getting to the playoffs, we can go up from there, okay? And I think maybe they can go down from there, too, in the overall approval rating. But I'm willing to see, at least, from a pressure standpoint, how they do in the playoffs, how he fares in the playoffs for the first time as an Alabama football coach. So going into the playoffs, and I think after two regular seasons, I'm at a 7, which I think is really good, right? Colby inside the comment box is question, what would you give Coach Saban in his second year? Yeah, those comparables are always really tough. There's different game, But so right now, I think it's fair. We give him a 7.5. The comment box is spoken. It looks like 68% is in that kind of range of 7 to 8. So we'll come back and edit this graphic, and we'll put 7.5. 7.5 for Coach Kalen DeBoer. Thanks for voting. Next up, let's talk about Ryan Grubb as Alabama's offensive coordinator, okay? There's a lot to dive into right here, and I think this is kind of where it gets a little bit hot, a little uncomfortable, so let's just get it out. This is where a lot of the scrutiny is, and when you pull up the stats and you look at the statistics and you kind of dive into it, there's a lot of things that aren't going right with the Alabama offense, and I feel that this is one of the areas that gives everybody anxiety and why people are like, yeah, Alabama can't make a run. Alabama can't beat this team, that team, is because their offense. Let's face it. Nobody's calling out the Alabama defense, right? Nobody's saying Alabama's defense can't. No, that's the backbone. The offense is going nowhere, okay? So let's start with point A. His offensive system in the SEC. What system? What type of system is this? And I asked the same kind of question is what is the identity of Ryan Grubb? That Mike McDonald interview, I think, it wasn't directed towards him, but if you listen to it, it sounded exactly like he was talking about Ryan Grubb. The running game, or lack thereof, right? It's where's the running game? And I have a graphic that I like to show you because I was putting this together for today's program, and I was coming up with different elements. I like to dive into stats and whatnot. And I found this stat to be super alarming, okay? I'll try to go full screen on this real fast. Viewer discretion is advised. I'll get to the super chat in just a minute. I really appreciate that. So in 2025, and I fully understand that Jam Miller hasn't played the entire season, but even if I put Jam Miller and I combined it with Daniel Hill's stats, the numbers would still be very low. Okay, so 2025, 123 carries for 493 yards, and that's not an entire season. But like I said, even if I added all the running backs, it would still be low. Okay, 2024, Jam Miller last year, 145, 668, 7 touchdowns. And those are the first 2 years under Coach Kalen DeBoer with the offense. Jace McCullough in 2023, you see a better record. You see a little bit more volume, 8 touchdowns. 2022 with Jahmyr Gibbs, a decent amount of volume. Pretty much the same as 2024, 926, 7 touchdowns, different running back, right? That cat was just different. But look at this. Is there a trend? Because look at these teams compared to these teams. Starting 2021, 13-2 Brian Robinson, 271 carries, 1,300 yards. And the interesting thing about this, fam, is that same year, Bryce threw for 4,700 yards. So don't think it was just a one-dimensional type offense. Brian Robinson ran for 1,300. Bryce Young threw the ball. 2020, right? 251 carries with Najee. And guess what? Mac Jones threw for over 4,000 yards as well. I think it was 4,800 or something like that. Crazy season. Again, 11-2, 209 carries, 1,200 yards. You see what I'm saying? And it seems like the further we get away from 2021, it's like the trend. If I put the graph up, 926 is more than 890, 890 is more than 668, and 668 is more than, whatever Jam Miller and Daniel Hill combined for. So I think that this is kind of one of the most alarming stats when we look to Ryan Grubb is the running game, okay? Does that graphic make sense? And right now, I was like, what is the identity of the offense? And I think there's a bunch of different areas that we can point to and wonder is it a pass-heavy offense? Well, yeah, Ty Simpson threw for 3,000 yards, but it's not like it's a pass-heavy attack. I feel like this offense doesn't have an identity. I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication. I feel like I don't know what's going on with the offense. I don't know if we're like a vertical threat attack. I don't know if we're a mid-range attack. I don't know. Ty Simpson in the quarterback room. Ryan Grubb said specifically that he is going to work with, kind of the overall offense, but he's a quarterback guy. I would say the beginning of the season when Alabama was really at its peak, Ty Simpson was cooking, and then I don't know what has happened. We had a video go out on Ty Simpson yesterday, and the biggest question is what's going on? What's going on with the offense, and what's going on with the quarterback? And that's with Grubb. And I think one of the biggest things is when he moved to the sideline. I keep bringing that up because I think it's monumental. He did that during the Eastern Illinois game. To me, that signals that either he got told to get things going, he's feeling the pressure himself, he's not happy with how the offense is going, so he changed things up. On one hand, he's being proactive, he's changing things. On the other hand, it's like that signals red flags. It's like something is going wrong, okay? Something is going really wrong. And then the use of gadget plays, I just kind of threw that in there because I have never seen a coach run more gadget plays in my life. Some of them work, some of them kill momentum. Some of them are just laughable, okay? And that kind of goes to Mike McDonald in his comments recently. He didn't specifically say anything about Grubb, but it felt like it was about Grubb. It was like, hey, this play worked one time. Let's do this play. It was like, why did that play work? To me, and look, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm on YouTube. But to me, an offense, when it's most impactful is like when you're setting plays up, right? Okay, look, this team is starting to run the ball. This is what they want to do. And then, bam, you hit them with the vertical, right? This team is challenging us vertically. Guess what? Now you can run, something underneath with your running backs. Like a delay or something like that. You know what? We have really fast guys. Let's attack them across the middle with crossing patterns and kind of work our way down. Like, kind of set something up. There's no setups. Like, it's like a completely random playbook of random plays that is happening all the time. It's like 3rd and 2, jet sweep with Lazier Brooks. And the whole 2-play system that people were pointing out yesterday, okay. But what about just running a play and having confidence in just that play to be able to outman the defense? 3rd and 2, you need to do 2 plays for that? 3rd and 2, I'm lining up and I'm like, my guys are better than yours. My offensive line is going to dominate, and I'm giving it to my 245-pound running back on 3rd and 2. And if I get 1 yard, I'm going for it again under center. I'm not doing a direct snap to Caden Proctor. I'm lining up and playing old school football. It's 2 freaking yards. Get the first down. That's how I feel. So what is his approval rating? Ryan Grubb, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll make another poll inside the comment box. And then I'll address something that you guys are talking about inside the chat. Approval rating of Ryan Grubb. And this one I'm just going to say high, mid, and low. All right, please vote. Okay, so I do want to address something that has come up before I move to Kane Womack. Okay, I have seen it, and you guys have seen it too. It's something that out there that I can't confirm. I am not a newsbreaker. Okay, it's always better for someone else to break the news. There's people that have better sources than me. Whatever. It's just like, I don't want to be wrong on anything that I talk about. It's just not a good. It's never like what's the point of being first? I'd rather be accurate. But I have heard what you guys have seen out there too. And there is right now kind of the water cooler talk is that Alabama has fired its offensive line coach. That is what everybody is talking about, okay? I haven't officially seen that from anybody, okay? I promise you, if something like that happens, I will either go live or I'll have a video immediately ready for it. But I have seen that too. But at this point, I've just seen it like you. And I'm not comfortable enough to like put out a video or to say that it's, true. I think sometimes people say something and then it gets legs and then it becomes a snowball. And because people want somebody, to be gone. But in terms of like is it out there? Yeah, it's out there, but I can't confirm it. So I can't really like make a video about it like officially or anything like that. But I've seen what you guys have seen because I know you guys are talking about it inside the comment box. Okay. How you guys feeling? You guys liking the show so far? Is it good? I felt like a state of the program show would be good. Right? Didn't it? Because sometimes we're like talking playoffs, we're talking recruiting, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do a state of the program where we're at, right? Okay, so Kane Womack, all right? Defensive coordinator at Alabama. And by the way, the results for Ryan Grubb are low, 54%. 40% actually see mid. Okay. Speaking about Kane Womack, Alabama's second-year defensive coordinator. Man, the improvement that this man has made year over year has been absolutely stellar. I think we have to really be grateful that nobody poached him from Alabama when Penn State got everybody, new contracts. This man's name was brought up for a few jobs, if I'm not mistaken, right? Oklahoma State and Arkansas. Man, I gave him a blue ribbon. There'll be a couple guys on this video that get a few awards. And straight up improvement because this guy was under a lot of scrutiny following last season. He got things together. And maybe that's why we can be hopeful for maybe Ryan Grubb next year. Because I'm telling you, we were not happy last year with Womack. We were not happy last year with the defense. And what was really scary was the fact that we kind of saw that same defense in week one. But then quickly, things got better and better and better, right? So the defensive identity, we have one. This swarm defense, players are flying around, playing fast football, booming hits, right? They don't get as much quarterback pressure as I like to see, but they've improved in that area. I mean, Yanzi Pierre's done a great job this year, right? They tackle well in the open field. They're everywhere. Like the secondary, it's tough to challenge. Yeah, I mean, they've been put in some bad positions and they allow some touchdowns. You stop a team when they got the ball at the 8-yard line. I love C right here, this point C. Young defensive talent showing. Xavier Brown, sophomore. Dejon Lee, freshman. London Simmons, freshman. Right? I mean, we could go through a handful more guys that are young, that are in development, that are playing. The young defense talent is showing. These guys are good. They're playing with their hair on fire. And the fundamentals look solid, right? Fundamentals sometimes is like what it gets down to. Remember that time that Coach Saban was like, do you guys remember this? There was one point in time where Coach Saban his team was criticized for tackling. He went out there and had them do tackling drills. In fundamental football. Hang on to the football, wrap up, tackle, right? Red Morgan, sophomore, great addition. Appreciate it. The fundamentals look solid of this team, okay? Quintez, what's up, bro? See you inside the comment box. RK, what's up, man? Good to see you this morning. The goal line defense is really good. The red zone defense is good. These guys are clearly going to give up, scores. Look what they're playing. But for the most part, I like Alabama. You get into red zone defense, I like our chances. They've come up with big plays all year, right? Clear backbone of this team right now. So I'm going to ask the same thing, okay, inside the comment box. Approval of Womack. I'll keep it simple. High, mid, or we too low. Bang ding ow. Something wrong. It better be high, all right? Because this guy's done one hell of a job. I'm telling you, we are going to have a freak out emergency video if this dude got poached somewhere else. There's a few viewers that are mid. Maybe those viewers are some opposing fans. I don't know. But Womack's done good. I was like, oh, man, this – you know what's crazy? Before I move on to the other coaches, who would have thought at this point in time, like today on December 9th, that we would be hyping up Kane Womack in dog and grub? I never saw that coming. Never. Right? Todd Tipton, what's up, dog? Good to see you, man. All right. We're going to quickly hit on the other coaches. All right. So I'm going to go through the coaches, the support. I'm telling you, this is an action-packed show. I'm going to go through the entire roster. We got to. It's state of the program. Okay, so the other coaches, we got Robert Gillespie. He's the running backs coach. He's in year 5. Oh, man, you look at the Alabama running backs, and I get it. They've been a little bit banged up. You have, Jams out right now. Kevin Riley, he's out. But the development of the running backs, I think, like right now, is I think there's a lot of people out there that probably have questions about the running back room. They're like, okay, like, and Gillespie has a pretty solid resume of guys he's turned out. But you look at the running back room, is like comparing these running backs to the past running backs. I think a lot of people, and I know this is going to make you uncomfortable, is kind of less talented running backs than we've had in the past. I think that's what some people would say. Okay. Freddie Roach, a lot of people always ride him. And look at the titles. Everyone is a head football coach on Coach Kalen DeBoer's staff. Probably for, payment range, but like assistant head coach, associate head coach, assistant head coach, co-defensive coordinator. It's like, I think under Coach Saban it was just like defensive coordinator, assistant. But everybody here has like an extra title. Just something I noticed. People, how do you guys feel about, some of the, is there anybody you want to mention on this board? And I put the same thing on Kapilovic because I've heard what you guys are hearing, that he's been let go. I heard it. I saw it. I hasn't been verified. If it's verified, I'll come back with like a breaking video. But other than that, I just seen what you guys said. It's probably just a rumor at this point. But it seems like it's getting hot, okay? Jamarcus Shepard, he's out. He's the head football coach at Oregon State. Mo Lindquist, I gave him a little, sticker. Well done. That secondary is filthy. The secondary has been outstanding. Way better than, just super talented. Okay. Mo Lindquist, damn good coach. And I'm glad they might not know about him yet. I think North Texas maybe gave him an opportunity or something like that. But Mo Lindquist is a damn good coach. Excellent. Okay. There's a couple other coaches as well. You got Chris Robinson, who works with the outside backers. You got Nick Sheridan still on board working with the quarterbacks. He's a co-offensive coordinator. All right, thanks for the super chat, Adam Lampello. And I think there was a super chat earlier. I'll go back and read it out. I apologize about that. Sometimes I just get going, but I appreciate the super chat and the support. Brian Ellis works with the tight ends. Jason Jones also in the DBs. This is his first year here. Chuck Morrell working with the linebackers, and then Jay Nunez working with the special teams. And a lot of people have kind of pointed out Jay Nunez just because Talty is having issues. Let's see what our boy Adam has to say inside the comment box. Kyle, this team peaked midseason, and after Oklahoma, they lost confidence. The blueprint to beat Alabama's out. Stack the box, blitz Simpson, and play man. How do we adjust to beat Oklahoma and get our confidence back? That is the blueprint. You're 100% right. That is the blueprint. I think if I was to challenge Alabama, I would do the exact same thing you're saying. I would send pressure at Ty. I would challenge the wide receivers because I know that Ty doesn't have or hasn't showcased any sort of vertical threat. The wide receivers aren't sticky. They drop passes. They can't run the ball. Offensive line can be challenged. That's where the issues are. You're 100% right. How do you change all that? I would change things like this. I would show some more RPOs. I would use Ty's legs. I would use more screens. I would use short things to get wide receivers' confidence up. Hey, you know what? Your quarterback right now can't throw a 40-yard pass, but he can throw something to the outside, and he can hit Ryan Williams. We saw when Ryan Williams caught these short passes, you let your guys do the work. The guy had like 40 yards of yak yardage. Maybe he can't catch a deep ball anymore. Okay, can you catch a short screen pass and just run? Right? Can you catch something over the middle and absorb a hit without losing your confidence or having alligator arms? You know, maybe we send Jerry Bernard across the middle, some RPO. Bam, bam, boom. That's what I do. It seems to work on the video game. Where'd that other super chat go? Thanks for the super chat, Adam. Let me scroll up. I feel bad. And, okay. Sorry if I missed a super chat. I've accepted in life, you know, one of the things about me, man, is like I'm a people pleaser. So, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, it's everybody has strengths, weaknesses. I think you could see that each way, but that's something just I've learned about myself. So I apologize if I didn't showcase your super chat, but I really appreciate it. The support staff, I gave a blue ribbon out here to Courtney Morgan. Yo, Courtney Morgan, you can't let this guy leave. I think Alabama, in my understanding, they had to pay him a little bit more because USC was like, yo, Courtney, what's up? Come back out to Cali. Cali? Yeah, so he's here. He's great. If you've listened to him speak about the recruiting process, he's doing things that are next level, okay, in terms of college football. David Blue, strength coach, and then Jeff Allen in his 18th year. This guy is, you imagine what he's busier than Santa, right? He has all the guys on the shelf, and he's like tweaking a jaw, a knee, an elbow, whatever it is. And then Bob Welton is paired up with Courtney Morgan. Those guys are the roster builders, recruiting, things like that. All right, now we get into the player reviews, okay? We got quarterback Ty Simpson. He threw for 3,000 yards. And I know this is going to sound weird. I brought this up on Wake Up Bama this morning. But Ty Simpson, it's really, I know, this is going to freak you out. Statistically, he has better numbers passing than Fernando Mendoza, okay? He does. All right, and you're probably like, what? No, Fernando Mendoza's then, yeah. Fernando Mendoza threw for 2,900 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Trust me, I go over the stats all the time. Ty, 3,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Now, the difference is Fernando's team is 13-0, and I think one of the biggest things that I see from Fernando compared to Ty is Fernando has a much better deep ball. He can challenge you vertically. His receivers at Indiana, I know I'm going to say that. And London, I agree, bro. They're not playing that competition. But when they did play Ohio State, which I think we can all say has a good defense, yo, those wide receivers are better than our wide receivers. And I can't believe I just said that. That was hard for me to say. I never thought in my life that I would say that Indiana's wide receivers are better than Alabama's wide receivers. That even feels weird to say that. But have you seen that number 13 from Indiana? That dude is like stickier than Velcro. It's crazy, man. And they can challenge you. Throw up a ball, they're going to get it. I can count 3 passes last game that Alabama dropped. One didn't even hit a receiver's hands. It went right through him. Austin Mack and Keelan Russell back in the waiting, and the biggest question mark about the quarterback room is what happens if Ty Simpson comes back? That's a question that everybody's asking. People like don't even want to talk about it because they're like, what happens? We went through this last year with Milroe, who, by the way, I was corrected. He was drafted in the 3rd round. I think on my podcast I said the 1st round. He was drafted in the 3rd round, number 92 by Seattle. Remember, because we weren't sure that if he was going to go. He kept on falling in the draft. I mean, do you think Ty? Let me ask you this. Do you think Ty's better than Milroe? Because if he is, then Ty's definitely going to the NFL draft. There you go. Alabama, as you know, signed 2 quarterbacks, right? Jethamala and Tate Kawa. So you were like, well, what the hell's the quarterback in the room next year? Well, here you go. And for those of you that are like, wait, because every time I show this graphic, people are like, Trent Seaborn. Trent Seaborn is in 2027. He's not going to be on the roster next year. That's why I don't put him on this graphic. But if you really wanted to talk Alabama quarterbacks, you could scrunch all these quarterbacks together. You could add Trent Seaborn, and then you could add Graham Simpson, Ty's brother, who's in 2028. Nicholas has asked this question a couple times. Kyle, why didn't they bench Ty and put Austin or Keelan in? I thought about this a lot. It's because it would have looked really weak to put in a different quarterback against Georgia. Everybody was screaming for it. I think that Coach Kalen DeBoer will be judged heavily in his whole approval rating that is at a 7.5 right now would slide down if he doesn't make a change if Ty Simpson isn't cutting it. If the offense is struggling and Ty's like throwing an interception or can't get something going and is like, I don't know, 3 of 8 in the first quarter or something like that, you better be warming up Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. You better be willing to do what it can to change, okay? And the biggest question about Ty is he's hurt. He's walking around with broken ribs and a broken back. Yo, if he's hurt, every other player that has been hurt this year, we've seen the backup. Why hasn't Ty Simpson been benched if he's hurt? Does that mean that they don't believe in Austin Mack? Does that mean that they don't believe in Keelan Russell? I don't believe that Ty Simpson's hurt, to be honest. He's taken some hits where you're like, damn, is that dude going to get up? And he's popped back up every time. That dude is tough. And his legs are bendable. Because Georgia went right at his knees and he just bounced up. Okay? Why didn't they bench him? Well, why didn't they bench Jalen Milroe last year? And the craziest thing was they didn't bench Jalen Milroe even in the bowl game when that could have been some opportunities when Ty could play. But right now, have you seen Graham Simpson, this guy's brother? He's insane, like crazy. And he's in the class of 2028. So you could really list out the next 7 or 8 quarterbacks here, right? And again, Trent Seaborn is in the class of 2027. Yes, I know. So this is the class of 2026. They signed 2 guys. They have 1 committed in 2027, and they'll probably get Graham Simpson too. Okay? It's a lot of quarterbacks. The running backs. You look at the running back room, and you're like, okay, felt good about the running backs. They're like, all right, this group is going to do work. Well, is it Ryan Grubb? Is it the running backs? Is it the offensive line? You know that Spider-Man picture where everybody's like pointing at each other? To me, it doesn't seem like, look, I feel that when Jam Miller is 100% healthy, that he's better than the other running backs, okay? He hasn't been 100% healthy. When he's not 100% healthy, he's not the best running back in the room. But we've had opportunities to see some of these other guys spot play, and to be honest, none of them look overly like dynamic like we've had in the past. They just haven't. I know you guys are calling for Daniel Hill. He's had opportunities. He's looked okay. Kevin Riley looked okay. Jalen Washington don't play. Richard Young don't play. Right? A.K. Deere, we've seen him come in just a little bit. Yeah, they look good against Eastern Illinois and against Louisiana Monroe. But come on. You really want to, like, pump your chest about, what the player did against that school? No. That team was terrible. Terrible. Okay? Alabama signed 2 running backs, right? Xavier Crowell and Trayshawn Brown. These are 2026 guys. So you look back at this running back room, and you take off Jam, you take off Dre Washington, you have 4 running backs, right? And everybody thinks that Richard Young's going to transfer. I have no idea if he will, but maybe. But I have to tell you, based on the things that I've seen on film, and I don't know why we think this. Every single 5-star is better than all the other players that have experience. But okay, let me just ask you, maybe I'm tripping. Does it seem like Xavier Crowell could, like, be the starter next year at running back, or is that just completely absurd? Does it seem like Crowell could play now, or is that completely absurd? I get it. There's a big difference between Anniston High School's defense and Georgia's defense, but damn, like, what this guy is doing, it looks incredible. Super chat in from Brandon. What's up, Brandon? He says, Graham Simpson, Ty Simpson's brother, broke the state championship passing yards record. Yeah, he's ridiculous. What is he? Is he a sophomore right now? I think he's a sophomore. Because I think his freshman year, he was also a starter. Chris points out Crowell's highlights. They were filthy. What did he run for, 308? Everybody's good at high school. I know that. But still, like, Crowell seems a little bit different. All right? So those are your running backs. The receivers, I'll go full screen on this because we got a lot of wide receivers. I gave Jeremy Bernard a blue check. The blue check to me means, like, Mr. Dependable. Although he's been pretty quiet the last, like, 4 weeks. People say that he's, injured or whatever. But I don't know. He's dependable, but they've kind of gone away from him. He used to be kind of Alabama's everything on offense, but they've kind of gone away from him. I would imagine that, Isaiah Horton comes back. Pretty much everybody could come back in this room besides Jeremy Bernard. Think about that. And you add on just one receiver. Maybe that's why they just took one receiver. And I know everybody out there is calling for Cam Coleman to come over. Well, yeah, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But who would be your 3 starting wide receivers if Cam Coleman comes over? Sound off inside the comment box. Who would be your 3 starting wide receivers if Cam Coleman came over here? Who do you bench? Because I'm telling you, it's going to be hard as hell to keep this dude off the field. Lazier Brooks. Okay? And I think the same for this guy. Sedarian Morgan is a monster. So, look, will guys leave? I don't know, probably. But even if you get Cam Coleman in here, one of these guys is going to sit the bench. Rico Scott, this guy's been MIA. This guy's been MIA. These guys don't play at all. Cole Adams, he returns punts. Jalen Mbakwe made that switch. He don't really play at all. And Derek Meadows, he don't play. He's in development. Right? Here's the tight ends. This little thing, icon represents that the player is injured. Okay? So the tight end room right here, you got Danny Lewis, Josh Cuevas. Josh Cuevas, as soon as Josh Cuevas started playing his best football, the dude gets hurt, right? Why does that happen in life? The guy started, like, balling out, and then he gets injured. Hopefully, I think he'll be good to play against Oklahoma. Then here's your other tight ends. You got Brody Dalton. He don't really play. Jackson Marco. I don't even know if this guy's played all year. Jay Lindsey. He's played a few snaps. And then the freshmen play over here. Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett. Those guys are good. And you bring in Max Sutter to that room as well. They're getting better tight ends these tight ends you have to have because they're like serviceable type H type tight ends. But poor Danny Lewis, this guy never got healthy this entire season. And Josh Cuevas is a weapon. He just got banged up. But I think with Max Sutter coming in and these other tight ends, I like what we got from the tight end position. Offensive line. I didn't put the entire offensive line on here. I just put the guys who have played the most. Looking at it next year, I would imagine that Caden Proctor leaves, right? Cam DeBoer, he's banged up right now. Parker Brailsford. You know what? Parker Brailsford probably come back. I think Parker Brailsford would come back, right? I mean, he could. That would be gigantic for Alabama's offensive line. Let's look at Alabama's offensive line next year. Let's see. Parker Brailsford coming back. Man, I don't know what the hell happened with Jaden Roberts. That was the weirdest thing to me. I don't know if he got, like, injured. I saw his mom was on X and was like, free Jaden Roberts, which means that he's good to play. He just don't play. I thought the Hulk would play. Wilcom Formby. Okay, so these are the guys we know for sure. Parker Brailsford, Wilcom Formby, Michael Carroll. That's 3. Okay, so we got 3 guys coming back for sure. Yes or no? Does Caden Proctor come back? Yes or no? Does Caden Proctor come back? I'm going to say no, right? Wade's World says he might as well stay. I don't know. I guess if I had to answer right now in like fast money, I'd say that he left. Right? Dr. Kevin Cook, I agree, bro. If Parker Brailsford comes back, that would be fantastic. So everybody say no chance. Okay, got you. So hell no. All right, Justin Pearson. Right? Yeah, okay, thank you. Caden Proctor's gone. So in my mind, fam, I think you need to go into the transfer portal for a tackle. I understand you got 5 guys coming in with Bryson Cooley, who just flipped from LSU to Bama. I don't care. I want 2 tackles in. For my Christmas wish list, I want 2 tackles that are the best tackles. I want to spend all our money on a tackle and a field goal kicker. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want for Christmas. I want 2 gifts. A tackle and a kicker. The best that there is. The best that money can buy. Is that too much to ask? Because the right side of the ball for this offensive line has been less than mid. Let's just say it. All right, the defensive line, who we got coming back? Or let's look at it first. We got Tim Keenan. He's played great this year. James Smith, he's played well. Beeman's out. Kelby Collins recently out. Edgerkill, he's played well. Faga, I don't know. He hasn't played as much lately, but I do like his game. Steven Boomois hasn't really played this year. And then London Simmons has been fantastic. So there's kind of your defensive line. I know the text a little small. I wanted to put like just all the guys on the screen. And I want you guys to know too, I put so much into the graphics. I'm telling you, like you know how hard it is to adjust the little photos and to, put them in there. It's painstaking. I'm telling you. But I want you guys to have something you could look at. So, defensive line, we straight. We're good. I like it. Hopefully this guy comes along in Boomois. Just haven't really seen too much of him. All right, the bandit position right now, LT Overton, a little banged up. I know you guys have seen it out there. I've seen it too, all like the rumors. Coach Kalen DeBoer has just said illness. People have said that it's pneumonia. People have said that it's a blood clot. People have said all sorts of stuff. I have no idea. They don't, plus that's his stuff. That's like, it's private stuff. You want people to know, your injury. Hopefully he comes back. I listening to Coach Kalen DeBoer, it sounds like he's optimistic. Okay. And if he's really going through something serious, and like prayers up, because that, is dangerous stuff. So who else we got at the bandit position? We got Keon Keeley, Jordan Renaud, and Fatoa Henry. Well, Keon Keeley and Jordan Renaud got opportunities in this last game, and I think they're very good. I think they're super athletic. I think they fit that bandit position extremely well. And if LT Overton, when he moves on, the NFL or whatever, I think these guys, we won't miss a beat here. I'm telling you, I fully believe in Keon Keeley and Jordan Renaud, 100%. So, and who's to say that Jordan Renaud might be the starter? He might. He's played more snaps than Keon Keeley, okay? But I think each of these guys is very, very talented. And you know what? Henry over here, this guy has one hell of a highlight tape. I just, I don't know why he hasn't played or whatever. But if you watch this guy in recruiting, like before he signed, unbelievable highlights. And you look to Alabama, like who they signed as well, like Nolan Wilson. Man, that guy is really good. Jamari Matthews, very talented, right? I think some of those guys can fit into the Bandit. And I think we should point out, too, Keon Keeley, this guy put on like 25 pounds. He was actually a wolf position player before they switched him to Bandit. And he's done well. Speaking of that outside linebacker position, you got Quay Rusaw, right? You got Ja Latham. He's been banged up. He dealt with the neck. Yeah, you like the little medical tags? Yeah, I like to put little tags on things like that. It reminds me of Tecmo Bowl, right? Where my Tecmo Bowl fam at? That was the inspiration. Quay, look, what if Quay could leave and so could Yanzi if they wanted because they'd be eligible for the NFL? If these guys come back, Quay Rusaw and Yanzi Pierre come back, oof, man. I'm telling you, the defense next year is going to be salty, right? You can get some defensive linemen to kind of replace Tim Keenan, which I think will be tough to do, but I think you'll have athletic defensive tackles, right? But, man, look, you got Quay coming back. You got Yanzi. And the way that those guys are playing right now, we should be good to go for the playoffs. Noah Carter, he's good. He's seen more playing time. And Justin Hill, how about the tackle that Justin Hill had in this game against Georgia? I thought that was going to be, because it happened like on a third down, right? And Georgia actually picked up the first. But, Justin Hill, that guy is good. This position is loaded. Loaded. Okay, so I have to ask you a question, okay? Stay with me here. Do you feel that maybe it doesn't make sense athletically? Maybe you guys can walk me off the edge here. But do you think because we're losing three very talented inside backers, which are right here, you're losing Nakai Hill-Green, Justin Jefferson, and Deontay Lawson, right? Is there any chance that we have a position flip to put like Quay Rusaw at the inside backer? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because then you can kind of bump over Yanze, you can bump over Noah Carter and Justin Hill at the Wolf, and then you could theoretically have a veteran jump to the inside backer and be next to kind of these guys that are coming up, right? Imagine Quay Rusaw here. I mean, he'd have to drop a little bit of weight, I think, maybe, but I think he's athletic enough to do it, right? So you move Quay to the inside backer, and then you have Quay next to one of these guys who's up and coming. Okay, Justin Pearson points out that's his natural position. So there you go. That might make sense, right? Because I was thinking maybe they have to go to the transfer portal, but if you just move Quay over, you're straight. I would love to see Quay as an inside backer. He's super athletic enough to do it. Caden Jones, QB Reese, Daryl Duke Johnson, Luke Metz, Abdul Sanders, all those guys are freshmen on the end. Tough as nails wants Hubbard down his backer. So, I mean, if you move over Quay, who's very versatile, Quay Rusaw is one of the most athletically gifted players on the defense. Period. I mean, and then these young cats, I mean, they played mostly like special teams and such, but this guy had a really good spring season, Abdul Sanders. And then you bring in Xavier Griffin, right? Where do y'all think that Xavier Griffin will fit in on the defense? Xavier Griffin, the 5-star who's coming over. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you, man. That's money. Appreciate it. Tony Campbell with the 2020 super chat. 2020 is, I know that year was crazy. 2020 was the wildest year in the world we've ever lived in, right? But the crazy thing was that was one of Alabama's better football teams too. Right? That 2020 football team, that there needs to be like a documentary on that team. I appreciate the super chat. All right, inside linebacker should be straight. The corners, right now, I gave a blue ribbon to Xavier Brown, and I put a trending up for Dejon Lee. Those guys, outstanding. And you know what? Damani Jackson did a really good job in this last game. Damani Jackson came up. He's, when he was slumping, see, that's the thing. On the defensive side, when the guys were slumping, they take the guys out and they put other guys in. They've done that all year. Damani Jackson got subbed out many times for Dejon Lee. Dejon Lee has played in 544 snaps. As you guys pointed out inside the comment box, him and Michael Carroll have made the on-3 freshman All-American team. Right? So Damani Jackson will go. You got Xavier Brown. You got Dejon Lee, Chuck McDonald in development. You bring on Jordan Edmonds. You bring in Jordan Edmonds, fam. Right? Zion Gibson. The corners are going to be straight. The second, I'm telling you, Alabama's defense next year is going to be fantastic. They're going to be so good. The secondary, and think about this, okay? So our corners are good. You lose Damani, right? But you kind of look at what we have for safeties going into the playoffs. The corners going into the playoffs. Look at these guys for the playoffs. Dejon Lee, Xavier Brown, Damani Jackson right now playing at a really good level going into the playoffs. Love it. Love it. Look at the safeties going into the playoffs. Keon Sabb is playing his best football right now. Bray Hubbard, he got a blue ribbon. He's playing outstanding. The guys in the back end, Zay, he's kind of been a little bit up and down, but I love his athleticism. Cam Howard, don't hear too much about him. And then Ivan Taylor, the freshman, he's played in pretty much every game. You bring in Jaira Edwards, right? And then you bring in Rael Kelly. Yeah, and I get it, Max. Max is like, you never know who's going to transfer and such like that. But I think the core nucleus of the defense, even the too deep on defense with some of the guys that got coming in, I like the secondary a lot. Right? Edwards coming as a 5-star. Edwards could theoretically play that. Did we already pass the – where's our Husky position? I know I added it. It must not be here. But Husky next year or right now, you have Red Morgan, Deshaun Jones, Cam Calhoun. Do you think that Jaira Edwards could play Husky next year? Maybe. And then you got Jay Kirkpatrick, whatever, whenever he gets, back or whatever. Because he was playing well. He was playing aggressive. I need to add Jay Kirkpatrick to the safeties. I did all this morning, so appreciate the grace on some of the omissions. But it's not like Dre is not like kicked off the team or anything like that. You all know what he's going through. So, once he works through that stuff or whatever, I think he'll be good to go. But it's not like I don't have him not on the graphic on purpose. It's just that was an omission by me. But all that stuff runs clearly through Coach Kalen DeBoer. Yo, Jaira Edwards is a monster. Monster coming in, right? And Jordan Edmonds is too on the secondary. All right, kickers, we got the 65% right here with Connor Talty going into the playoffs. I think that's a little bit scary. But I did see more confidence in him against Auburn. Peter Notaro is right there behind him. You got Alex Oshbroff, who lost the job to Blake Dowd. This guy is Alabama's punter. He's been okay. He's had some really good games, and he's had some kind of mid games. He's not that consistent. And then over here, David Byrd, who I still think looks like Pablo Escobar, in my opinion. But this is the snapper. And he's been called out a couple different times this year too, right? Okay, so the final assessment of the state of the program is this. Kind of go up to the top. Have you guys enjoyed the state of the program show? I felt it was time. Like, I was like 10-3, felt it was like a good time to just kind of go over every single thing. So here's kind of the final assessment. I'll go top to bottom. Coach Kalen DeBoer, 10-3, SEC title game, he reached it, right? So you've already won more games than last year. You reached the SEC title game, which is so hard to do, right? It's hard to do. You try to make the SEC title game. Yo, yeah, it's hard. And they were the number 1 seed, okay? Look, there's no moral victories, but there's facts. And the fact is, you made it to the SEC title game as the number 1 seed. Playoffs. They made the playoffs. That was on our checklist, right? Look at our top thing. Look, all these things were on our checkbox. Win more games than last year. You did that. Reach the SEC title game. We did that. Reach the playoffs. We did that. Now what? Now what? What do you do now? Where do we go here? Like, what is the next step? Right? Win the first round playoffs. Reach the semifinals. To be honest, looking at the playoff bracket, call me crazy. I like where Alabama's at on the bracket. Georgia and Ohio State down there at the bottom. I like the top. Playoffs. All right. Ryan Grubb. Big concerns here. Big concerns. Fire burning. Okay. Call everybody. There's big concerns. Things aren't working. Hopefully right now they're figuring out a plan to get the offense on track. This could be the ultimate demise of this season. Okay. The running game is a clear F. It's not even a C. It's not even a D. It's an F. We ended the season with an F. Running, okay? And the offense isn't good. And J5 inside the comment box, yeah. The rumor is out there that Coach Kapilovic, the offensive line coach, has been fired. I've seen that. What you guys have seen, it's like out there on all the social stuff. There hasn't been like an official report by any of like the major organizations. So I'm kind of just waiting just to hear if things are official, but I haven't heard it's official. Okay. There is a F-, ML says. Yeah, dog, I hear you. I'm willing to change it too to a F-. You get -3 running yards. I know a lot of that was on tie. I don't give a damn. It's like the running game is no running game. Okay, Womack, improvements, big improvements, backbone right now. Kane Womack, he's the backbone. He's got the defense rolling. The staff, Shepard is leaving. He's a wide receivers coach. Are any changes coming, right? Is the O-line coach getting replaced? What else could happen to the staff? Do we need to make some changes, some adjustments? Lag Gaming is like, look, in my opinion, I'll call this season a W if we beat Oklahoma. Anything more, that's awesome. Yeah, I like this. I think that you beat Oklahoma and you gain a lot of momentum. And then you're the underdog against the number 1 seed. Can you imagine? So, look, the thing is, it's one game at a time. But we can talk about whatever the hell we want, right? If they beat Oklahoma, solid. Then you go into Indiana. The problem is the world of college football and the world in the globe, right, still thinks that Indiana is like Vanderbilt from like 5 years ago or from like 10 years ago. The world hasn't caught up that Indiana is a damn good football team. So if Indiana beats Alabama, people are going to be like, Indiana beat you. You'll never hear the end of it. But they don't understand football. Indiana is a damn good football team, okay? And it took me a while to accept that too. But after looking at their stats and watching them play, I was like, oh, these guys are good. But if you beat that team, then Coach Kalen DeBoer's approval rating skyrockets because he just beat the number 1 seed, and people start to believe that this team can win the national title because they beat Ohio State. And then things really pick up. And then you got an opportunity against Texas Tech or Oregon. You got to like those chances, right? And then, let's say you get past that. Well, maybe you get another opportunity against Georgia. Maybe somehow the offense finds its marbles. And maybe somehow this team's able to win, a natty. But it starts at Oklahoma. Friday Night Football, under the lights. All right, offensive roster. Could Ty come back? Who the hell knows? Xavier Crowell's in. Yeah, like that's our guy. Who's going to be the tackles in 2026, right? We don't know. Defensive roster, inside linebacker transfer, or as we just kind of looked at, maybe Quay pops in. Maybe he just transfers from one position to the other. There's your transfer. Loaded secondary, right? Xavier Brown coming back. Dejon Lee, Jordan Edmonds, Jaira Edwards, right? Bray Hubbard, Keon Sabb, all those guys coming back. Loaded secondary. Loaded. Crazy. Special teams. Kicking issues right now. Scary. Punter is mid. Scary. Recruiting. Stellar. Courtney Morgan. Stellar. Killing it. 0 drop-off after Coach Saban in recruiting. 0. That's one of the things that I thought was going to happen. I was like, man, Coach Saban's going to leave and the recruiting is going to go to you know what. It didn't. The recruiting just stayed. The recruiting is like on fire. And I think overall, playoffs define you, okay? But it's a step forward. Kind of tying it to point number 1. 10-3, won more games. Made the SEC title game in this playoff climate. Made the playoffs, right? Now what? Step forward overall, yes or no? Is it a step forward from last year to this year? Overall, did Alabama take a step forward under Coach Kalen DeBoer after 13 games? I'm going to say yes. Okay? So, and there's still more football to play. So that's kind of where we stand. I hope you guys enjoyed today's program of State of the Program. I felt it was good to kind of go over all the nooks and the crannies and point out all the things after 13 games. I think it's a step forward. I do. And it's going to take us probably about a week to get past that Georgia loss. That didn't taste well. Okay? So I'm going to get you guys through the open week. Okay? Normal programming, couple video cuts, live at 10 a.m., 4 a.m., Wake Up Bama, news as it happens, Facebook channels banging, okay? So I appreciate you guys for kicking with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you like the show, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate the super chats as well, and thank you so much for watching today on Tuesday, December 9th. Stay where your feet are at, be blessed, count your blessings, be positive, take the high road, and enjoy your life and enjoy where your feet are at right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.